Good night, good night. Welcome to Let's Connect on 88.5 Sufre FM. We are in studio. It is Tuesday, the 28th of November. I had to double check. I was about to say the 30th. I want December to start already, it seems. It is the 28th of November 2023, and we are going to be starting off by shouting out all our various communities as we usually do. In Sufre, we have so many wonderful places, and I'm still so very proud of all the wonderful communities that participated in the Kudme Sufuye activity the last couple of weeks. So I want to say a thank you to Force Jacques, all the various communities of Force Jacques, Mini, Mocha, Esprewas, St. Philip, Warden, Belle Plaine, Belfort, Etangs, all the areas coming down to Diamond, Margaret to Sulphur Springs. Big up to everybody at Sulphur Springs. I heard you guys did a wonderful job cleaning up the area. We want to say good night to New Development Zeno, Colabet. Good night to you guys in Fort Benye, Palmis. Good night to you. If you live in town, Market Road, if you live at Barons Drive, good night to you. Lenny's Hill, good night, good night. We want to say good night to those of you in Bouton as well. Good night to all our communities. We do hope that you all are having a good week so far, heading towards the end of the month of November. I know last week had Black Friday sales everywhere. So I hope that those who could have participated got all your Christmas gifts lined up. We want to say good night to all those of you on our live platform, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. Good night to you guys. We want to shout out the family of John Henry, who was laid to rest yesterday, and we want to also extend condolences to the family of Paul Henry and also the other fraternity of 88.5. He was a dear member of our staff here, and he was somebody I always saw on a Tuesday. He would always be here just before Let's Connect started. So we do miss him dearly. Mr. Paul Henry, better known as Adaway, has passed away, and we hope that the family is taking comfort in knowing that his suffering has ended and that we shall meet again in the ever after. So good night to you guys in Palmis. Special good night to you guys in Palmis, and we do hope that the entire community is once again putting their arms around the family as they grieve. We want to also shout out the family of Mr. Toma. I am not too sure of his government name, but he was very affectionately known as Mr. Toma, always around the Church Street area, the church area, always in church. So the church family know him very well, and those persons at Church Street know him very well. So to the family, we want to say, please accept our condolences as well. All right. So tonight in studio with me is Mr. Ireneus Henry. And it's funny that I didn't realize he was the one I was speaking to, but Mr. Henry is somebody in the community very well known to be a fire service officer. And tonight he's representing the St. Lucia Fire Service. And we want to say goodnight to him and wish him all the very best tonight because he is about to give us some wonderful information. And I hope that you guys don't bombard him afterwards because you are going to be so excited that you're going to be seeking out every time you see him. You're going to be wanting to talk to him. So just give him a little breather, please. I know you're going to be excited with this information. So good night to you, Mr. Henry. Welcome to our Let's Connect program here on 88.5 Super FM.
Good night, Mr. Seze.
All right. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Yes, I'm indeed grateful for accepting my I should say it.
Proposal,
yeah,
yes.
to be in the program.
Yes, and you're welcome anytime. I remember three separate occasions actually where had the pleasure of being taught by you. Two of those were first aid classes for two separate jobs that I held, and one of those was a fire prevention exercise while we were doing professional development day with the Sufre Infant School. And that is one of those things I hope that almost every organization within St. Lucia is calling on you to do, that fire prevention exercise where we were taught how to use the fire extinguisher. We were taught different things about fire. That is one of those things I think, and also first aid, very important.
Yes. Just to add, fire prevention is very effective in reducing fires and reducing the loss of lives. But another place we have to focus is injury prevention. All of the debilitating injuries and accidents can be prevented if we also have an injury prevention drive.
Okay, I agree with you. I recently saw footage of a vehicle collision with a truck, and
Yes.
persons flew off the vehicle. And one of the persons who came to the aid, you seen it on the camera that the person just grabbed the person off the ground, and it looks so shocking the way the person's body was bent when they lifted them
Yes.
up. So I was like, no, you're not supposed to lift them. I'm yelling at the screen. No, you're not supposed to shift the person. It's like, oh my gosh, so many people still don't know this. You don't shift persons when there is an accident. You leave them right there because you don't know if there's a neck injury,
Yes.
there's a spinal injury. You could be making it worse.
There are a lot of
Yeah.
considerations if you're going to move the person, how to do it safely. Because if there is in present danger, then you don't have a choice to move the person. But there are ways to do it to preserve the person's
Minimize
yeah,
injuries.
minimize injury.
Yeah, it's one of those things where almost every single organization, I really believe, should seek that sort of training for their staff, just for basic awareness, because you never know where you might be when something occurs and you might have to react, and your reaction could save a life or prevent further injury. So just that knowledge, if it was widely accepted that this is common knowledge, then we'd have a lot of prevention.
I love the word you use, awareness. That's an important word. So awareness, and then from there we're going to advance stuff. But basic, yes, awareness is important, and that's applies to both fire prevention and the injury prevention.
Right. So we want to touch first off on the history of the St. Lucia Fire Service. Now, I was going through some documentation about it, but I want you to share with us, because your knowledge, you've been in the service for how many years now?
27 years, over
Wow.
27 years.
Over 27 years. So I know your knowledge is deep. So tell us a little bit about the history of the fire service.
Okay, so before you had several fires in the city and around St. Lucia, and that was the time when fire service was, the job of firefighting was part of the police. The police, they had no separate fire brigade, so they were not properly trained and they were not properly equipped. There are islands in the Caribbean that where police and fire are still together. When you compare them, they're miles behind those that have been separated. So because of several fires, major fires that you had in the city, Soufrière and other places on the island, then they decided to separate the fire from the police. And in the beginning, it was just police officers that were separated, and they had firefighting duties only. So that was in 1974. And then it was the 14th of September 1974 when it was originally separated. And then the first batch of civilians that were incorporated as firefighters, but before it was just police officers. The first batch, it was 85 civilians that were trained as firefighters, and that time it was mostly men. There are no women. It's lately that they start having females here.
It's the latest thing. Yeah.
Yes. So some places you had what you call fire posts. So when it started in Soufrière, it was actually a truck at the Soufrière police station until later they built a fire station. But Soufrière's situation is different in the sense that we don't have an original fire station. When they separated from the police, there was a warehouse in town. Upstairs was a dance hall. I think they used to call it La Mouia, because downstairs was a warehouse where you have saltfish and stuff.
Okay.
So that building was purchased, and then it was converted by the firefighters themselves into a fire station.
Oh, wow.
So whereas the other places like Babuno, Grosile, Denry, we could have stations that were designed from scratch as fire stations. So for just one that is converted. Okay, so the building is not always suitable as a fire station because of it's just been converted. Okay, so as I mentioned, just to recap, because of many fires and poor responses by the poorly trained, poorly equipped firefighters, then they converted into separating from fire to a separate fire station and a separate fire department from police. That was in 1974. So from there, next year will be our 50th anniversary since we were separated from the police.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
a bit of the history.
That's a long time being in service, though.
Yes.
But wonderfully, it's remarkable to see that Soufrière had that almost Kudme mentality, that the firemen came together and did something for themselves.
Yes.
And it's interesting that they're the only ones on island who did that.
Well, before, like Mikud was in a building the same way. all these other areas like Mikud, these areas now they have had their own
Fire
specific fire station, but
service,
it's only
right.
Sufre that still remains. Well, headquarters is still in a building. It's not an original fire station because of the destruction of the original headquarters. So it's just say headquarters and Sufre fire station. That's not in an originally built fire station for now.
Wow, wow, okay. So the St. Lucia Fire Service, I know like almost every organization, especially government-based organizations, there is motto, vision, mission statement, what your intentions are. So tell us a little bit about the motto and mission statement of the St. Lucia Fire Service.
Yes, I really love the our motto and just three simple words. And it says what we do, how we do it. Okay, so the first one is service. We are here
Provide a
to we
service.
are here to serve. Okay, to serve whether it's civilians, whether it's visitors, whether it's foreigners. Once you are on St. Lucian soil and then you are injured and you need help, we are there to serve. And the second word is commitment. We are committed to serving. And the other word is devotion. That means we have a passion and a love for what we do. So our motto is service, commitment, and devotion. So it's a very powerful motto, and it's one I love, and most of us love it. And it's also on our official fire service crest: service, motto, commitment, devotion.
Service, commitment,
Devotion,
devotion.
yes.
Right. That's very powerful words. I do hope that persons, you have a pledge that you take.
Yes, there is a pledge that you take when you are formally accepted as a firefighter. You take your pledge. Yes,
Right.
it's an official oath, rather.
Of
Yeah.
okay. All right. And you have a vision statement, mission
Yes.
statements.
There's a main mission statement, and there are some of the sub departments have their own, but I'll just share with you the main mission
one.
statement. Okay, so our mission statement says that we are there to provide effective and efficient coverage. Okay, so these two words are important. Okay, and I'll explain what effective and efficient means. Provide effective and efficient coverage throughout the island for the protection and preservation of life. Life always comes first. Life and property from fires, accidents, floods, dangerous chemicals, and other disasters. Okay. Now, efficiency talks about using your resources but not wasting it. Okay. So even if you are effective and then you have wastage of manpower, wastage of human resource, wastage of what any resource, once you have wastage of resources, even if you are effective, you're not being efficient. So if you go to a fire and then you wasting water and you wasting stuff and you're not using it effectively, then that's where the efficiency comes from. Like you adding additional cost to the government. Like, for example, if you call for an ambulance for something, I'm just using that to explain it. You call for an ambulance or you give a prompt call, and then the ambulance responds. Yes, we respond, but you yourself are already wasting government resources by having an ambulance to respond when there is no emergency. Okay, so effectiveness and efficiency comes together. And then to let you know that we cover the entire island. Can be in Gopiton, we will respond there and get you.
Oh, really?
And we have done that several times.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
you can be on Rat Island, and if you have to get
So
there to get you,
you'll have to climb the whole of Grupito to
yes,
rescue somebody.
we have
They
done that.
don't
Come
have
down doing
access to
CPR.
a helicopter or
No,
anything like
no.
that.
Well, the helicopter is places we cannot get, but most of the time we climb way to the top. We carry the person down. Sometimes we've been doing CPR from the summit down to the base. Okay, so throughout the island there is coverage.
Awesome, but that is incredible though. To that and that is truly a statement of devotion to do something like climb the piton and perform CPR all the way down.
Yes, several times.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And they don't give you all enough recognition then, because if I had to know that somebody like you was doing that on a regular basis, oh my goodness. Kudos to you. Round of applause.
Yeah,
All the trophies and the awards for you.
we are underrated and undervalued.
Wow, that is incredible. Y'all are basically that they definitely have to give you all the title of superheroes then. Because that is incredible. That is wonderful. So that was your mission statement. And your motto definitely speaks to what you already do. Perform a service. You have definitely shown commitment and devotion. And you said that there's also a
mission.
sub vision. So Sufre has its own vision statement.
Well, when I said I was referring to places, the departments like fire prevention, but I don't have it with me. I just have the general one.
Also different. Okay,
Yes.
so the different divisions
Might
within
have
the
their own,
fire service
yes.
have their
But that one
own.
is the general
Okay,
one.
okay, all right.
But for the vision, I'd like to say kudos to our chief fire officer. He's the one that's high on development, education, and he's one that even before he was the chief has pushed our training school and developed it as it is now. So I can say our fire service training school is what it is because of our fire chief Ditney Downs. Okay, and when I look at the vision statement, I can see it's in keeping with what the work he has done. Okay, to develop the service into a cadre of professionals equipped with the necessary skills and expertise to deliver quality service to the nation, which is St. Lucia. Okay, so we most of our training we do it locally. There are times we source outside training. Sometimes we bring the professionals down to train us, but there's a lot of training that we do that equips us to effectively and efficiently carry out our duties, and obviously to keep to our motto, which is service, commitment, and devotion. We are high on training and education.
Now the type of training I've seen in movies when it comes to the fire service, it seems similar to army type training. Is that the type of training you do here in St. Lucia?
Yes, paramilitary training. Well, I don't want to boast, but we sometimes say that our physical training is of a higher, even higher intensity than that of police. We can
I
argue,
can
but
imagine because I've seen footage where persons they're carrying the dummy body, carrying up a wall, carrying
Yes.
across a field, running across,
Yes, we do.
and that sort of drills and
Yes. Plus, we have the ladder, we have the pump.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of carrying and lifting and climbing to do. A lot of running, a lot of crawling. It's high intensity. Okay, some of the skills you don't get to use it often, but the one time that you need to use it, you have to be ready. Okay, so the training is intense.
Wow.
Notwithstanding, also when you train at any time you'll be out. There is no like set routine to say you're going to bed at 8 and wake up at that time. The whole 3 months you're going to spend there. You can be up at any time and out. Okay, to simulate that actual way of operating you're going to have when you get to the station. You can be aroused at any time to respond to a fire or to an ambulance call or any emergency. So in the training, that is done over and over. While you are sleeping, when you're having your best rest, that's the time the whistle is going to blow, and you have to be out there.
Definitely have to be
Rain or shine.
strong to be able to undergo those type of trainings.
Mm.
You earlier mentioned that the different divisions within the fire service. So I think from what I saw in my notes there are 4 divisions.
Yes.
All right. So you mentioned fire prevention earlier. So that's one of the divisions. Tell us a little bit about
Okay.
that.
So we have four divisions, and then we letter them. Okay, Division A, Division B, Division C, and Division D. Okay, so the main division, which takes care of everything, is A division. There is a special reason why it's A, because it's the division that keeps everything together. So that division is actually administration. It handles training, staffing, and also you have our maintenance, our engineering, because we take care of our vehicles. It's attached to A division. Okay, so we have a maintenance north and a maintenance south. Before there's a headquarters for the south. Okay, but staffing, finance, training, capital projects, engineering, administrative duties, all that is handled by A division. Okay, then you have B and C actually handles the same type of duties, but it's just B is in the north and C is in the south. So it's operations. Okay, those that do the actual work of firefighting, responding. So you have fires, rescue, ambulance. So that's B is the 5 stations in the north, which is Dennery, Dennery, Babuno, Rosile, headquarters, and also GFL Charles.
Okay.
And then C division, which is the south, which is Mikud, Soufre, Vieux-Fort, and also the airport, which is Crash Fire.
So every airport must have a fire service office.
Well, that's the requirement for it to be open.
Right.
Okay, based on your category, will depend on the size of your fire station. If it's a small category like up north, your fire station will be smaller. But international airport like Euronura, your requirement, you have more appliances and more staffing. So it's based on, in fact, your fire station would qualify for your ranking of the airport. So if there is any strike or anything, right away the airport will downgrade because of the absence of staffing. Okay, so the staffing and also the equipment would assist or would is paramount to the grading of the airport. Okay, then the last division, which is fire prevention. Fire prevention handles we say the inspection of the buildings, and they go through the plans. They go through public education in the schools, businesses, and they also enforce. For example, if you're going to have a barbecue, you're going to have a concert, they're the ones to give you the conditions to run the concert and stuff like that. And they're going to do the inspections and tell you what to do, come and inspect the venue and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have, as we speak now, we have a fire prevention training going on, and we have officers from St. Vincent and Dominica that are training in St. Lucia at our training school.
Wow.
So fire prevention is the bedrock of preventing fires and ensuring that you can say it's preventing us from the loss of life and loss of property. So we have a very rigorous and a very good fire prevention department in St. Lucia. That's why we have the reduce and the more fires, and especially around Christmas, then we'll heighten our education to ensure that around that time the fires are lessened. Yes.
How many fire stations do we have on island in total? You mentioned 5 for the north.
And 5 for the north and 4 for the south. So actually we have 7 domestic. Domestic is those that respond to the normal ambulance calls, structural fires in the communities. And then we have 2 aerodrome. Aerodrome refers to the airports.
Okay.
So we have 7 structural and then 2 aerodromes. So in all we have
9.
We have 9. But we're thinking of areas that need the fire station, like maybe the Canaries ancillary region, and maybe the Choiseul region. So if you have to go up to 11, these are maybe the areas where you might have new fire stations.
Okay, that's interesting. Do we find that is the reason for putting the fire services there because there's a lack in that particular area, or is it because there's a large amount of fires in that area?
Okay, so you have to do feasibility studies when you're going to strategically place or locate the fire station. So yes, you are correct. The frequency of emergencies and the distance from one station to actually service that community. So if you look at Canaries, the fire station, the fire truck has to leave Soufrière and travel way up to Canaries and stay. By the time we get there, all we can do is defensive firefighting. Okay, try to protect the other buildings. We can't really do any offensive.
Yeah, you have to just let the structure burn down.
And then protect those around. Because by the time we get there, obviously, everything will be gone. Okay, so if you have a fire station in that area, then you can think about saving more of the buildings and doing more offensive, because obviously you'll get there in time earlier. So for that reason, also, you have to look at the number of persons there. Sometimes we don't always get it right, because you might put a fire station there and then the reason you give is not justified. And then it comes with a lot of costs. It's not just putting the building and putting the trucks, but you have to think of the monthly salaries. So for these specific reasons, it's always difficult for government to commit to having a fire station in a specific location, except if you have a politician who really pushes, like in the case of, I think in the case of Babuno, that was something that they had to deliver, and they planned and they pushed and delivered. But if you don't really have persons pushing and clamoring and asking for it, okay, it's like the residents have to really, really put pressure on the representative or the government to really get it, because looking at the recurrent costs, that's what the government looking at when they're looking at the feasibility study, and that's what at the end will depend whether they're going to do it or not.
Okay, That's understandable because you have to. It's like you must do a pro and con list
Yes.
as to why it is you're going to be suggesting that there is a fire service in that area. Now, I promised at the beginning of the show for persons who joined us late when we first started speaking with Mr. Ireneus Henry, we said that there was going to be some wonderful news. So, and that I asked in advance for persons not to mob him when they see him to try to get more information out of him or to try and ask him too many questions. But the exciting news is that the fire service is going to be hosting a wonderful event, and we are going to talk a little bit about that and what that entails for persons who could be possibly interested in this event. So, Mr. Henry, tell us a little bit about this event, when it's happening, and what exactly it means for the persons listening here in Soufrière and in the environment.
Okay. So two things. I just want to make a disclaimer before I start. So I am not here as an official fire person, fire of fire what should I say? I'm not as an official spokesperson for the St Lucia Fire Service. I'm just there as a firefighter who is from Soufrière, who is concerned about my community and wants my community to advance. Okay, so I just want to say this. So two things I want to inform my fellow Soufriérians that on the 12th of December, we're going to have our Chief Fire Officer parade and award ceremony in Soufrière. That will be at the Soufrière Stadium. And the second thing which is the main reason why I chose to come on this program, is to have a drive, a recruitment drive to sensitize people that they'll be aware as to there'll be a recruitment program, maybe early next year. I'm trying to encourage persons from Soufrière to apply. Okay, and just to give you a brief picture as to how it is in Soufrière. Soufrière, the fire station, the St Lucia Fire Service has several firefighters, and I want to specifically look at the fire women. Okay, there are as of late I'm recruiting a lot of fire women, and there's a certain percentage of women that has to be in every training we do. Okay, a specific percentage must be there. And for the 49 years of existence of the St. Lucia Fire Service, there have only been one female out of Soufrière who is a firefighter.
Wow.
There are female firefighters working in Soufrière, but originally a Soufriérian who is a firefighter, only one from Soufrière. Okay, I can mention her name because I like to recognize her.
Let's give her a shout out, yes.
A shout out to 560 Ursula Alexander. Okay, she's the one who is the only female firefighter. As I said, there are female firefighters that are living in Soufrière, that are working in Soufrière, that have taken permanent residence in Soufrière, but they are not originally Soufriérians. And not to discredit them, they are very good firefighters. They are very good friends of mine. But I just want to see that Soufrière has more and enjoy more of the pie, as if to say.
Okay. Now, I want those of you who are between the ages of 18 and 30, 45, you still youth, you still considered youth as far as the UN is concerned, United Nations is concerned. I want you to try and consider this as a possible career for you. And so, in order for you to know really what it is to be a fireman, we're going to talk a little bit about what it entails, what the job description entails, what it is for you to get in, how do you get in, and maybe you can start looking at between now and hopefully January, February, March next year when the recruitment program is active, that you will be able to meet the requirements for you to be able to become a member of the St. Lucia Fire Service. So what exactly is the job description of a member of the St. Lucia Fire Service? Let's start there.
Okay, so as a firefighter, it entails a lot. Okay, so first and foremost, your duty is to be available to save life. Okay, so life always comes first, and then to preserve and save property. Okay, but life, I want to reiterate, life is our main reason why we exist, to save lives. Okay. Also, we have other duties. see, the other minor duties, which is in the job description, speaks to things like taking care of your other equipment, ensuring that the station house is clean, make sure that the equipment is in a state of readiness. These are other minor duties that day-to-day servicing and preparing for the actual responses. But your main duty is to go out and save life and property.
So, in order to save my life and property, first of all, you should have a healthy respect for life.
Yep.
All right. So that's your first requirement. Have a healthy respect for life and willing to work with your team, I suppose, your crew, to save life and property. Right.
So yeah, teamwork is paramount. Sorry. For as a firefighter, you must be able to work well within a team and also work well individually, because the way we operate, you are responsible to take care of yourself and also the next member of the team or the other members of your team. But your personal safety first, then the other members of the team, even before you start dealing with the victim or the patient.
Right. Now, in order to be a firefighter, you have to get training, right?
Yes.
But training is not just like we train you now and we send you into the job and you never get training again, right? It's a continuous type of training.
Yes. So apart from your initial training at the training school, when you actually come on the crew, we have drill and lectures. So we have a program for every day, Monday, Sunday to Saturday. There are times when you have activity where you're going to do your personal thing, rest, games, and stuff like that. But there are activities for the entire day. We have lectures, we have drills. Okay, so the drills are actual skill related, and the lectures are more theoretical. Okay, we have times we have to be servicing our equipment. We have times we're going to have different drills. We have times for physical activity. We have times where we go around the community and assess and inspect our hydrants. We have, when we take up duties every morning, we're going to have a parade. The parade is more like where everybody come together and you have roll call and everybody is assigned their duty for the day. And after that, you're going to, wherever you are assigned, you're going to go there and do your initial inspection of all your equipment, make sure everything is there. So as soon as you get to respond, you ensure everything is there. When you're going to hand over, before you leave, you also make sure that you hand over so that the person coming in gets everything in place. So we have a program for the day. It's not just you come in and just sit around and then wait for a fire. We are engaged throughout the day. And even ongoing, there are programs at training school that you are supposed to attend, original programs, continuing programs, recertification. So there are always training that are ongoing. In so much as that we have so much training that sometimes it's difficult to balance between the actual shift manpower and then training school. But other than that, always training. Everybody's excited and look forward to the training.
It sounds like it's the type of activity that would build a lot of discipline as well, or would require you to be able to maintain a level of discipline to be able to engage in continuous training.
Yes, it's almost like a culture. So it's when you come in, like you accept it as that's how it's supposed to be, and then it builds you and makes you a better person. In as much as a lot of persons, you see a totally different person, because the whole purpose of the training at training school, we say, is to break you down from civilian life and make you into a firefighter, which is a totally different person. So it prepares you for all the traumatic events, all the things you're going to encounter after, because it changes you into a different person in a better way.
It definitely sounds like it's I don't want to compare it too much to the army, but a lot of it sounds very regimented. So it brings to me the vision of, army type training where, you have a set time for everything. You have to go this way.
Yes.
And if you're not really into it, it might, you might not be able to make it through, but it has to be something like you're into, you into that routine, and you're able to continue with it, the mental
Yes.
training, the physical training, the skill building, and it's a constant thing. So it's like you're constantly making yourself better, and it comes back to the devotion and the commitment in the motto,
Yes.
because you have to have a devotion for it. You have to have passion for the job. You have to have a commitment to working the job, and like you said, as part of the job description, protecting life and property. You have to have that ingrained, or be prepared to have that ingrained in you, so that you can keep up with everything it entails in the training.
Yes, most persons who come to training school in the beginning, there's a culture shock, because a lot of things people are used to getting up when they want and doing what they want, but having somebody ask you, tell you what to do, and then be there at a certain time, and if you're not there, you're punished and stuff like that. So it's in the beginning, it's a culture shock. Okay, so, and then after a while, you get used to it, and then it changes you.
Okay. So we know that you have to have discipline, you have to have respect for life. But what else in terms of requirements for the entry? I'm sure there's other things like physically and mentally, emotionally, education wise. What are some of the other requirements?
Okay, so the requirements, they are not okay. So after I go through the requirements, and I'll go through the enlistment process. Okay, so the requirement, there's an age requirement which is 18 to 25, but as of late, there have been some efforts to kind of increase. It's not something that has been made official yet. Okay, but we want to go to a higher age where you can have persons who are more mature and persons who can make a difference and adapt faster. But the normal age is 18 to 25 years. When I enlisted, I think I was the first person to enlist above the age of 25. And when I say above the age of 25, my birthday was in July and the training was in August.
Just a month shy.
Yes, and then I had to go through cabinet. They had to vote on it for me to become a firefighter.
Wow.
Okay, so I can say like probably I was the first person to go beyond that age and join the fire service. When I applied, it was way in April, but because of budget, it took a while before it went through. I was already accepted. So to have me into the program, it had to go through cabinet. Okay, so that's one part of it. Okay, there's a physical part, there's a height, you have other things, but some other things, it's not rigid in the sense that when you go through the process, somehow the fire service persons who are doing it, they can see, and based on how you present yourself, there are certain aspects that even if you don't meet the requirement, but based on the other requirements, that you are more than suitable to do the job. So, for example, if you're not the required height, but other areas where you prove that you have exceeded the requirements, so sometimes you are taking taken into consideration. Okay. So although it's a requirement, the chest measurements and stuff like that, but you also have the subjects. It's 5 subjects.
5 CXCs.
5 CXCs. Now they say GC. GC is long time ago. So mathematics and English are compulsory. But if you, for example, if you do basic, you have maths and you have maybe basic 4, and probably you get a general one in POB or POA. Since these subjects have a lot of mathematics in them, that can be taken as maths. And of course, if you have a science subject, it makes it even better because a lot of the firefighting has science. Okay, you have physics and chemistry of combustion, other areas like that you need to learn. Okay, and there will be an aptitude test. That aptitude test is a figure. I'll go into detail as to what they are assessing the aptitude test, and then basically that's it. That's the requirement.
Okay, so an aptitude test, your 5 subjects at grade 1, 2, or 3. There's the if you have math or if you don't have math but you have an accounting subject or POB at the grade 1 or 2, then that can substitute for the math. And there's some physical requirements in terms of height and chest measurements, but depending on where you stand in your other areas, that might be not strictly looked at. And age requirement between the age of 18 and 25. And you said though they're still looking into possibly extending that age limit. So you will see how that goes. So hopefully there will be an announcement to say that the persons are now accepted at over the age.
Maybe they might not make a general pronouncement, but while you go through the training, you might just see that you are accepted.
Okay.
So maybe a general pronouncement might not be made. Maybe it might not go through the stages where a general pronouncement can be made, but hopefully if you fulfill the requirement, you might just go through. So for the aptitude test, so you have the 3 C's and the 3 P's. That's how I label it.
Okay.
So the 3 C's, these are job-related tasks that you're going to be given. And it's for a specific reason that you'll be given these 3 C's. 1, to carry a victim, which is a dummy, a mannequin, to carry or drag it, and that is to test your strength. 2, to crawl, so I have carry, to crawl through a tunnel, that's to check if you're not claustrophobic.
Okay.
And the third is to climb, that's to see if you're not
Afraid of heights. Okay, I out of that one already. Afraid of the heights.
You need to fulfill the 3 C's. Then the
Okay.
3 P's is just core strength. One, core strength, right? So the other one is just
Okay, so that comes into with the chest measurements as well, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But the chest measurement cannot judge, it'll just show how you look.
Right, but it cannot judge
Yes.
the core strength.
Yes. So then you have push-ups, and if you can do 20, you're good.
Okay.
You have pull-ups. If you can do 10 or 15, you're over the mark already. And also plank. The plank is to stay in the push-up position for 1.5 minutes. So these are the 3 P's. Also, there is a run you have to do. You have to run 1.5 mile in 12.5 minutes.
So these the 3 C's, the 3 P's, and the run.
Yes.
That's something that has to be completed all within one test, one time,
Yes,
one day.
one day. You can do it one day.
Okay.
So they might have it in batches because depending on the number of applicants they have, they can have maybe 60 persons today to do it, or 100 persons depending on the applicants, and they can have maybe 2 or 3 of them based on the number of applicants they have. It can be 1 day, it can be 2 days, or they may have applicants who are already on standby before the previous course. Okay, yes, that's it.
That's the requirement, and
that's just for the aptitude test.
Just for the aptitude.
Yes.
Right. Now, all the things we mentioned in terms of the requirements for entry, but then how do you actually apply? What is the application process?
Okay, so that I will go through. Okay, so the
so persons who are interested, please pay attention to the application process.
Yes. Yes. My notes is all kind of mixed up. Just give me a second.
Sure.
Okay, so the application process. First, you need to get the application form, which has 2 references. Okay, so it can be
Where
from
can
your.
we get the application form?
So we can get it online, but my plan is, because I'm working on a recruitment drive, is to actually on the day of the parade, which is the 12th
of December,
to have forms available for persons. Invite you to the parade, and when you come, I will have the forms available. That's my plan going forward, to have the forms available, but they can be gotten online on the public service website. And also fire service website, I don't know if it's down, but it was available on the fire service website also. Okay, so it has 2 references. It can be from your last school or your last employer. Okay, so you have 2 references. Okay, so the applications are submitted to the public service. Okay, so when you fill out the application, you submit it or you take it to the public service office, not to fire service. Then after, when these applications are shortlisted, then those that qualify will be sent to the fire service. Then the fire service will inform these persons that they're now in the process for to be chosen. So I think they will be asked to do medical exams. They'll be sent to specific approved medical practitioners.
Okay.
Not anybody. They'll have a list of medical practitioners you can go to, right? And then you have to do chest X-rays. I think there are other physical exams and tests you have to do, and then submit it. Then after this, then you're going to be doing the aptitude test, which I gave the outline for.
The 3 P's, and the 1.5 mile run.
Yes. So at every stage, you're going to be shortlisting. Obviously, people will be eliminated. Okay. Then after the aptitude test, the person that are chosen, they're going to be a publication of, just like the police. You're going to have your ID because you apply for an ID, photo ID, a passport photo. Sorry. So they're going to be published either in a newspaper, or you can go at Massey and see the poster up. I don't know how they're going to publish it, but they're going to have a list of the persons who are possible candidates. So the reason why they're doing that, because they're going to be doing background checks.
Right.
Okay, so if you're I'm sorry,
It's
sorry.
okay.
If your name is up, somebody can say, okay, I know this guy. This guy is a crook, or somebody can probably come there and say something that will disqualify you. Just like the police, they put your name up. So doesn't mean that somebody can just come and just be mischievous and just do that and discredit you. But obviously, if you are not, then you shouldn't worry.
Okay.
Other than that, there will be a background check where officers we're going to go to your community, go around without your knowledge, ask questions to your family members, your friends, where you hang out,
Okay.
to find out a bit about you. So after the background check, then you're going to have the interview, where you're going to be invited to a panel, maybe 6 or 7 persons, including fire personnel and public service, and probably the fire service human resource officer. And then you're going to be interviewed. And based on the interview, then you're going to have a final list. And that final list is the person that are going to be chosen to do the recruit training. The recruit training goes from 16 to 24 weeks. The reason why it's so long, because it includes the EMT training. So you're going to be EMT is emergency medical technician. So you're going to be trained to obviously work on the ambulance.
To be a first responder.
Yes. So everybody, the way we do it, everybody that comes in is trained as an EMT. From the past 2 or 3 trainings we have had, everybody that comes in automatically is trained as an EMT. But I think going forward, persons who in the EMT course, if you don't pass the EMT course, that's another elimination also.
Okay, because I was just about to ask if after you do all those levels and then you get to the weeks 16 to 24 weeks of training, is it possible to still get cut at that point?
So you can be eliminated there. Okay, you get through the EMT, then the firefighting. If you fail maybe 3 or 4 consecutive exams, I think that's another elimination.
Wow.
So you can get in, and because you don't perform, you can be eliminated. Right?
Okay. Now you mentioned the medical test that you have to do X-rays and things like that. That's things that you have to pay out of pocket.
Yes.
Okay.
When I entered 27 years ago, it was actually being paid by the government, but now you pay.
Okay. Right. That's definitely something that has to be considered if you're intending on going through the application process. All right. Now I've never, to be quite honest, I've never noticed those photos posted anywhere for me to, or maybe it's because we have not had, like you said, we don't have that many persons from Sufre in the fire
I think
service.
once it's been posted at Massey, I think once it was on the newspaper is not being widely read now, but it can be on the newspaper also. It can be on maybe on Facebook fire service. I don't know, but it will be posted.
That's an interesting. I don't think I've ever noticed that before, but I'll definitely be keeping my eyes open because I am hoping that there's going to be an influx of Sufre persons, young people from Sufre who are going to be applying come December 12th when they come to the parade happening at the Sufre mini stadium. What time is the parade starting?
It's at 2 p.m.
It's at 2 p.m. Oh, it's an afternoon.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So that's the day before the holiday, December 14th. So on December 12th, you can head over to the Sufra Mini Stadium and look out for Mr. Ireneus Henry with the application forms to become a member of the St Lucia Fire Service. Now, I know we didn't talk about the amount of financial compensation, but is that something we can talk about? Can persons be told what the salary or the expected salary of a new recruit would be?
Okay, so the grade of an EMT, because some things might have to change, because as it stands now with the ministry, the grade of an EMT is a bit higher than that of a regular fireman.
Okay.
So I don't know if going forward they'll be taking into consideration and having a reclassification, and it will change. But for now, I don't think that's the latest figure, but per annum, a regular firefighter, almost $28,000 per annum is the salary looking at. But the salary is stepped. When you are training school, you don't get all the allowances, you just get the basic salary. With minus the allowances, that's the 6 months. and after the 6 months, then you're going to get the full salary. After you train, then you go for a 2-year probation period.
Ooh.
Where the way we do it,
Probation.
yes, 2-year probation, and after the 2 years, then you do a probation exam.
Mm-hmm.
If you fail the probation exam, that's another elimination. After spending 2 years, if you fail the probation exam, then you can be sent home.
This is definitely what you call a test of devotion and commitment, for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
But the thing is that you've been prepared, because it's not that you just been sent home. Before your professional exam, you're going to be taken to training school. You're going to have refreshers. You have the firefighter textbook, and every month, you have a chapter to complete. So within the 2 years, you can go through the entire text and prepare yourself. So if you want, I can go through the basic the chapters, or the areas that is covered in the firefighting
For the
curriculum.
sake of time, there's one topic I don't want us to neglect. So in terms of the benefits other than financial, and in terms of the type of training, and especially the preparedness for the job, because we did speak about the psychological effects of the job.
Yes.
So I didn't want our time to run out
Yes,
without
yes.
giving that information.
Okay.
So I know that we spoke about the aerodrome, and I guess there has to be specific training for the airports.
Yes.
And but you guys do so much other types of first response, like you mentioned climbing the pitons and other things. So I don't know if we do anything relating to water. Do we
Okay.
do anything besides just
Yes.
ambulance services? Tell us about some of the additional
So
training options.
there is a lot of training, those that are specialized training, and those that are general training, that improves on your efficiency. So apart from the EMT program, there is swiftwater rescue. But the swiftwater rescue you do is shore base. You can help somebody. There's two levels. There is a technician, and there is there's a lower level. Just let me just okay. So you also have to perform as an emergency dispatch. There's training in emergency dispatch. There's training in vehicle extrication, how to help persons that are trapped using the jaws of life and other
It's
equipment.
actually called the jaws of life.
Well, no.
I've read it called that. I thought that was just a joke.
It's called. There are. It's also a brand, Jaws of Life, because there are other brand. But as firefighters, sometimes we refer to everything as Jaws of Life, just like you have
all toothpaste is called
it. So it's something like that. Okay, but we have different. We have Hall Macho. We have different brands. Okay, so we have swiftwater rescue, as I said, shore base. We have emergency vehicle operator, because driving an ambulance or driving a fire truck is different to driving a regular vehicle. So you have to be trained how to operate, especially working with lights and siren. So there's a specific course for that, which is emergency vehicle operator. So we have light, medium, and heavy. So light would be just the van, medium would be the ambulance, and heavy would be the truck. Okay, so as you go, you're going to be authorized in different levels. We have courtroom procedure, because sometimes you have to go to court because of you are witness to at a fire or at a traumatic event, and you have to give evidence as a responder. As you mentioned, the aerodrome firefighting, which is airport firefighting, is different from regular structural firefighting. Obviously, just like police, we have squad drill. That's something you have to learn. Obviously, physical fitness prepare you. Customer service. Also, we have other things that's not related to the job, but affects your quality of life. Stuff like finance and money management. We have things on stress. We also had sometimes the persons from came to do sign language with us. So there's a lot that we do. Okay. Yes. Some of the training, most of the training is local, but we have regional and international training. Person that's gone as far as Taiwan, Japan, China, Malaysia, Barbados, St. Vincent, Grenada. Okay, name it. Persons have gone that far to do training.
Now, the type of training we do locally, is that at an international standard? Like if you train here in St. Lucia, you can go to the States and work as a firefighter, or would you have to be trained in the different any other fire station you go to,
Okay,
you would have to
so
train again?
although we meet most of the requirements for international, the only thing is problem is accreditation. So yes, it might not transfer for you to work in America or other countries, but for like the EMT and most of the training you do, we keep to the NFPA, the national standards. Sometimes we exceed the standards. The only thing is that sometimes our accreditation is not that it will take you and transfer you to a next jurisdiction. But our training is on par, and sometimes it exceeds the normal requirement and the normal standards, the regular standards. Right now, we are looking to accrediting our training to make our academy, our fire academy, one that is accredited. But our training is above and goes beyond most of the standards for international training.
Wow,
So we keep
amazing.
to the standards. NFPA standards, we keep to NFPA standards in our fire prevention, in all that we do. We
All
keep
right.
to NFPA standards.
All right. So for those of you who have been with us for the last hour or so, we had with us Mr. Ireneus Henry of the St. Lucia Fire Service, and we want to give you, Mr. Henry, final statement. Tell the people listening, tell the youth listening, tell the persons who would like to become members of the St. Lucia Fire Service why it is they should become a firefighter or an EMT.
Yes. So when I became a firefighter, it is not something like I thought of. I was a teacher, and what I really wanted to do was nursing. And the same year I applied to firefighting, I applied to nursing, right? And I got through firefighting first. Okay, that's been very rewarding to me being a firefighter. Okay, the reward you get from actually helping people, from being seen, well, not always. Sometimes we are undervalued, but the respect we get, especially when you work with the elderly. Okay, when you transport an elderly person, and sometimes when they start talking to you and about their life. So it's simple things like that. When you start talking to the elderly persons about their life and they talk to you, and that makes you feel that you have, at the end of the day, that you have really contributed something to your country and you have done something meaningful. So firefighting is a career that's meaningful. Your contribution is worthwhile. As I said, although we are underrated, undervalued, but firefighters are persons that genuinely care about persons. I can see when my fellow firefighters are working with, especially the elderly. Okay, the way they treat the elderly with dignity, especially could be an elderly male, elderly female. We don't say that because you're dirty, because you think. Firefighters go beyond that, and even when they go to persons, they even come back and assist them apart from their job, assist them with their normal needs. So it's something just like teachers, but firefighters are genuinely, even maybe they enter for different reasons, but when they are exposed to the training, you can see there is a difference in the way they view life and the way they go about. Okay, so I think it's an honorable career, and I encourage persons from Soufriere to join. And the reason why I want to encourage persons from Soufriere to join, because they have not been most of the training that have most of the courses before. Either you have one person from Soufriere or none. When I joined, I was the only person from Soufriere. The last course we had nobody from Soufriere, and the course before we had about one or two. Okay, so we need to have more persons from Soufriere taking ownership, and especially the females. Okay, some that we have a second or third or fourth female from Soufriere as a firefighter.
Right.
Yeah.
And to thank you once again, Mr. Henry, for joining us on Let's Connect here on 88.5 Super FM. I want to give a special shout out to those of you who commented tonight on our live chat. So good night to you, Miss Deborah Joseph. Philomena Lamontine, good night to you. Miss Caroline Bob, good night, and thank you for listening all the way from Castries. Good night to you, Melanie Hippolyte. Miss Bowens, Fancy Bowens, all the way in St. Vincent, always keeping it locked to Let's Connect. We want to thank you for your loyalty to the program. And to newcomer, first time commenter, Shelly Fannis, thank you so very much. I want to remind persons that we are going to be having our giveaways starting in December for persons who are commenting and bringing in persons to the live. So encourage your friends to join join us on Let's Connect every Tuesday at 8 p.m. and you might just get a chance to win a grocery voucher for yourself. So tune in throughout the month of December every Tuesday night. And once again, thank you, Mr. Ireneus Henry. Thank you to those of you listening on Facebook, those of you on radio, and those of you on YouTube. It's been wonderful this evening. I wish we had more time to speak more about it, and I would have loved to open up the lines to anybody with questions, but we will be bringing Mr. Ireneus back another day. And remember to check out the parade the fire service will be having on December 12th at 2 p.m. at the Sufra Mini Stadium. Once again, good night, Mr. Ireneus. Final words for you. Good night. Shout outs to anybody.
Yes, shout out to my folks, all my firefighter friends, Miss Chanel Solomon. I know you locked on listening. Ursula, Reese, my son, I know you locked on listening. VH, I know you're listening. So all my friends, my families, shout out to all of you.
All right. Good night.
But this heart of mine can never say goodbye. No, this heart of mine can never say goodbye to you.
This is Ben tuning in on 38.5 Sufra FM Champion Station.